All right, I think we can all start. So here, welcome everyone to the Gadigal Action Centre of Amnesty International Australia. My name is Kinzom Dongdu. I am the Government Relations Lead. So today I'm very excited to welcome you all to share and rejoice in this happy news that Mr. Chau Van Kham, whom Amnesty believed to be a prisoner of conscience, who has been wrongly imprisoned and detained for the last 4 years for his peaceful expression of his political beliefs, has today come home as a free man. So before I hand over to Dan Nguyen and Mr. Chow, I just want to acknowledge the Australian government and the Foreign Minister and her office, who have worked on this case diligently and skillfully, which has today brought him home to his family. So I want to acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge that this is quite a special, important day for the Amnesty human rights community as well, who in tens of thousands over the last 4 years have really come together to fight for the human rights of Mr. Chow. And today we want to acknowledge all their efforts and thank everyone. So what happens is I will hand over to Dan, the lawyer, who has worked very closely with Chow. And then Mr. Chow will say a few words. After that, we will take some questions from the media. And of course, I want to remind all of us to switch off our phones. Dan.
Good morning, thank you, Concern, and good morning to all. It's a very good morning for me. It's with great joy that we're all here today. And I think I want to thank the media. We've attracted a great crowd today, and that's tremendous. You have been a great driving force for us in bringing Mr. Chau Van Kham home today. So we must thank you, the media, and thank you for all the attention, the support, and all the articles, the programs and everything. Thank you for following our story. Special thanks must, again, I've said this before, but must again go to the government. To the two governments, actually, the highest level of negotiations, and as the Australian government have mentioned, careful advocacy in a spirit of friendship between the two governments have secured his return to Australia today. This year marks the 50th anniversary of friendship or relationship between Australia and Vietnam. And it's in that spirit that negotiations was made. And we thank also the Vietnamese government for their consideration in allowing and permitting the negotiations to the final result. Mr. Chau Van Kham is home to his family. I didn't do it alone. My team extends abroad all over the world, so I thank each member of my team who's devoted their time over the years. We've worked closely together and tirelessly, and I thank very much for their time, their expertise, completely on a pro bono basis. So thank you very much. I thank the many organisations and associations that have worked with me. I've knocked on every door, I've taken every opportunity, I've spoken to anybody that gave me audience about his story, about his fight for democracy, and I'm so thankful for everybody and all the associations, including our very local Vietnamese community who's devoted their time in lobbying for his return. So thank you very much. And I guess the most important news, and I'm very proud, very happy to share with you all that negotiations have been successful in bringing Mr. Chau Van Kham home a free man. Mr. Chau Van Kham is a pro-democracy activist, and we've achieved his freedom. He walks home to Australian soil, he walks home to his family, a free man. So I'm sure you're waiting to hear from him, Mr. Chau Van Kham.
Thank you, Lawyer Danfer. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's the first time in front of you, so I feel so nervous because I'm so happy. And I never nervous in front of the Vietnamese official. but in front of you, all the really good people and really helpful people to help me, bring me back home. Thank you all. And firstly, can I have the time, this opportunity to give a thank you because I had a long list. So can I use the paper? If I forgot, please forgive me. The first thing, could you please send them this message, very important message, to all people, all the official, the Austrian official, all the media, all the Austrian people, to help me, support me for my case back, bring me back to my home, to my beautiful wife and my son. First, can I say thank you to the Prime Minister, Mr. Anthony Albanese, who has personally raised my case with his recent visits in Vietnam. Secondly, numbers of members of Parliament House, especially Senator Penny Wong, Ms. Chris Bowen, Senator Margaret Payne, and also ex-MP Christie, and at the moment, MP Leda, and many others who raised and worked for my freedom. My lawyer, Mrs. Dan Nguyen, and her team. This case, the case officer from DFAT who had visited me in prison and supported me through those difficult times. My colleagues from Vietnam who had never given up on fighting for me. The Vietnamese community in Australia and abroad, the Human Rights Watch, and Amnesty International, and many other human rights organizations, the media, and all of those who have supported me through the petition letters. Most important, and my dear wife and my son, Daniel and Dennis, for always be there and forever supported me in my dream and my belief. And the last thing, can you send message to Vietnamese government? I thank you them to have cooperated with Australian government to bring me home and solve my case. And also thank you officer in the camp that I work. Some of them, not all of them, silently support me to make my life the time I was in prison. Thank you very much. Thank you. That is just an important message. Now, I feel so happy. At the moment, my heart hybrid. When I come back, just first thing I stepped down out of the Vietnamese airline So I say, never say Vietnam again. Even they allow me to come back, but with high caution. High caution. So, how can I say? So please, any more question? any question, but please, my English very short, very poor, so can express my feeling and my answer by hand.
You speak very well. Can I ask, I think there's going to be a lot of people who will see this and wonder how you survived 4 years in a Vietnamese prison. Can you just explain, you thanked some of the officers who silently supported you, I think. Are you able to just talk through what you went through over those 4 years?
I'm really not clear with your question, but I guess. You asked me how I'm feeling when I bring home, right? And how I was in prison.
In prison, yeah.
How can I say? I learned from the idea from the pastor in America. Please give me the peace in mind. If I can confront anything I couldn't change, give me the courage to change which one I can change. And the last one, give me the intelligence to recognize different this to the other. So I always remember that when I had to answer the question from the camp officer or any investigating officer. So I feel peaceful in mind, and I know who they are, and I know what they want to trick me.
Did you fear you may never come home again?
I never fear, because I'm sure I'm doing the right thing. So I always believe people, even Australian, my community, my party, my family always support me. Even I didn't know everything, but I know in my mind I haven't received any news from any support, because very hard. Never receive any letter from outside without checking by camp officer.
So you always knew you would come home?
Yes, sure. Because I know good people like you here, example, always help the right thing. Never give up. If I do the wrong thing, forget it.
Then your time in Vietnam, your time in custody, in jail, can you elaborate? Can you tell us what was that like?
Let me see. Different time. The first time in detention center, that means investigating, processing, or the waiting after the court decision. I had to wait a short time, but during the investigating time, it's long. It should be normally about few months or 3, at least maximum 4 or 5 months. But in my case, it takes about a year in very hard conditions in detention center in Cu Chi. That makes me, if I give up, I will give up to them. I will give up. But I try with my mind. I just told you. smart, should be have smart and peaceful in your mind during at night. How to answer? How to answer? But really hard for living condition in detention center.
How were you treated? How were you treated?
How I treated? Peaceful in my eye, just tell you, right?
But how were you know, your mind ensured you were strong enough, but how were you treated in jail?
Sometimes I had live along in the custody. I played the game with the ant, lizard,
Play with lizards.
and mosquito. I'll show you something. I'm prove this one. I let the mosquito suck in my skin.
Yeah.
I watch how it's full, and until the mosquito to pull, and they hard to fly, and they fly like this, and it made me funny, right? I mean, I forgot everything. I just enjoyed just the game just happened. For example, thank you.
Can you tell me about condition, prison condition?
Oh, it's a long story. Does it depend? Each time. Sometimes good, something bad. But the good, that means not a normal condition like in Australia living condition and outside condition. That means they live a little bit better than yesterday, example. Today a little bit better. Or next day should be less the worse than they want. That means they change all the time. Very hard to make sure that, but for sure that is the bottom of the living condition around the world.
Do you have any regrets? Do you have any regrets for going back to Vietnam and doing what you did, given how you've been treated and the ordeal that you've suffered?
Thank you for a very interesting question. I never regret when I go to Vietnam to do some duty. That is my want to do, that's my willing to do. So I never regret when I worked in custody in Vietnam. You do something against them, so you should be ready to be custody like this. That's right. Yes. You want to fight someone, you must know they will fight it back. So I had to accept it, right? With peaceful mind. Thank you.
Mr. Chow, in prison, did they force you hard labor?
Oh, thank you for that. I am over 70 years old by the Vietnamese law. They haven't any obligation to ask me to do any labor. Okay, yes, have to. Right? But me, I look like an old man, back and stomach ache, with everything. I'm not strong like this. I didn't show them I'm strong like this. But even I strong like this, I feel like this. Right? So easy.
No hard labour for you.
Nothing. Because only me. But they always washing me. Officer? No. Prison. The other prisoner. They had the mission to wash me. I know.
What
Thank
is
you.
it?
So you do any exercise for keep fitness or?
Oh, for sure. This is the real result, right? How can I fit like this? I can show you how I can run faster here.
Push up.
But no, okay, next time. Next time. right?
Food.
If you want to survive in any hard condition, you must have plan by yourself to keep your body, keep going up. Even your mind, like I had to read the book, any letter, any magazine, but remember, should know that very hard to get that, and very old magazine, just to watch the TV, Vietnam TV only, on the channel, just one system control, but one section of the media of Communist Party.
Did you was the thought of your family in your mind as well? Like being separated from them for so long would have been hard, I guess.
Thank you. This is my opportunity to thank you to my wife. I'm very bad boy to make my wife and my son very hard times last over 4 years. The first thing I met my wife, I said, very sorry, my darling. I do something wrong, but you know me, and you will proud of me. You know that. She know that. But I should say like that, right? And okay, now she look at her. She very shiny face now. See, please. Thank you.
Is she your hero?
Huh?
Is she your hero?
Not like this, but not like that. I'm not hero.
No, not you.
I'm not hero. I always a little. So I told you this. I first I meet you like this. I was very nervous because I'm little. I did the little thing. But a big problem like this. I'm very sorry. I even talked like this to the Vietnamese official and Australian embassy. I feel sorry to many time spent on my case.
Can I ask, you won't stop in your mission, you are pro-democracy to Vietnam, or pro-democracy probably everywhere, but you won't stop your beliefs in what you think about Vietnam and which way they go.
Thank you.
You're free here now in Australia, you can say anything you want.
Thank you, sir. I always answer the same question. I answer and this even question like that, even Vietnamese official, right? And even anyone outside, inside Vietnam, I always same answer. Same answer. If Communist Party, Vietnamese Communist Party, do something well and in Vietnam, I don't have to fighting them, right? And retire. I'm happy. But they still do bad thing to Vietnamese people. I keep going. Thank you, sir. That's okay? That's clear enough?
You bet. No.
Thank you.
I was wondering, could you cast your mind back to when you were in the courtroom and you were told that you would spend 12 years in prison? What was going through your mind when you were told you were going to spend the next 12 years here?
Yes, until the end when the last meeting at airport between security officer, airport security officer, counselor from in Ho Chi Minh City, Australian counselor, and some the people present from Australian government. They and some camp officer go to Detention airport to transfer between both sides, Vietnamese and Australia. On the Vietnamese officials always say, Vietnamese government has a chance, opportunity to bring you back to Australia to live with your family and keep in custody in Australia. I'll tell you one story, true story. During that time, before the meeting between both sides, two secret officers, they get me out of the room and to the small room. They said, "You're lucky because Vietnamese government allow you to go back Australia to live not too far from you, and you will be in custody until the sentence finish." I said, "No. You want me to show the paper I got from Attorney General? Okay. In that letter, I know he said I will be free in Australia because my sentence time in Vietnam 12 years. He said in the paper is adopted to 4 years by law, Vietnamese Australian law. So I stay in custody over 4 months already, because last time I received that letter is 14th of April. So I got 4 years, 4 months over already. So how come I have to in custody? And they shut them out, assist them out.
How did you feel when you saw your wife first time after prison?
At the airport, I told to my wife already. I said sorry, like I said, and looked like I just married her, and the first time I met her, so I felt so happy, and very happy. My wife is still beautiful, still young, so it's my heart beat.
Not a honeymoon.
Yes, yes.
Second marriage.
Yes. Yes. Yesterday I told my friend how I feel. I just married. I just had a honeymoon. Just one night, the first night. Thank you.
Trung, would you be willing to speak about what it was like seeing your husband again for the first time after 4 years? Quickly. What was it like seeing him when he returned?
You can speak to my Vietnamese. I can trace to.
I'm very happy to see you after 4 years and a half months, 6 months. Yeah. I'm very, very thank you the Australian government and bringing him home, and my family very happy.
And thank you, media.
Thank you, media.
Did you ever struggle during your years of advocacy that whether he would return home? Did you always have faith that you would see him again?
Oh, yeah, that's right. When I heard the news from the 12 years from prison, I could, maybe I never see him in my life.
Do you remember what your reaction was when you heard that he was coming back? When did that conversation happen?
I know only one day before, yeah, and my lawyer just said to me, and I prepared something for the day go to the airport to see my husband.
Yeah, Mr. Chow, before you return to Sydney, did Vietnamese government force you to sign any paper, say give up Vietnam party or whatever?
Oh, can I? Okay, if you want to know,
yeah, give up fighting democracy for Vietnam or freedom for Vietnam.
Of course.
Vietnam party.
You see, I just told you the last time in the airport, two security officers. They asked me the same question as you asked. I also the same answer what I did.
Obviously, you're here now. You're free. You had the advocacy of the Australian government. Do you worry for your colleagues and people who are activists still in Vietnam right now?
Yes, I still worry any democracy activist in Vietnam. At the moment, in my case, I'm the first one, and the other two are still in custody. But all they are in the Vietnamese. But they live at the moment different camp. The first one live in I think very hard camp in Vietnam. The second one, he live different camp, but I didn't know now. I haven't know the second one he said, but I know the first one he live in Sung Lộc camp. Because on the way they brought me from the Cu Chi detention camp to the other camp. The first stop is Sung Lộc camp, and that guy dropped off at that camp, so I know. And second drop is mine in K1, just 30D. And the other one, the last one, I don't know where he is.
Can I ask, it was alleged that you entered into Vietnam via Cambodia on a false document. Can I ask if that's true, and if so, why you did that, and if you have any regrets about how you got into Vietnam for the fact-finding mission that you were on?
I never regret. Because if I get visa from embassy Vietnamese embassy in Australia, okay, they may give me. But when I arrive in airport, they stop me because they know me as a Vietnam party member. For sure.
And you've been in jail now for the past 4.5 years. Has that dampened your willingness to advocate for democracy in Vietnam? Will you be more quiet now, or will you be even louder?
Sorry, I just told you what I will depend on the Vietnamese government. If they are even the Communist Party, right? Still to them, not still to me, but I'm little. They are big, right? They're big. If they know the strange opinion the world is going on, they must step down and pass authority to the Vietnamese people, make the country freedom, like the many countries around the world. If it's keep like this, at the moment, I still keep going. Thank you.
I also wanted to ask, your sons who've spoken to over the past many years about your case, they found themselves in a situation where they were suddenly also human rights activists in trying to get you freed. Are you proud of what your sons and your wife have done for you?
Of course. I'm so proud of it, my wife. So I can say so many times like that. Okay, if any people ask me the same question, right? Maybe I missed some your idea. Some can you remind me? Is the right answer?
Well, yeah, no, I think you said that you were proud of your wife and your sons, which
Yes,
is what I
yes.
was asking
Thank you.
about.
You make me the opportunity to thank you, my wife. Can I kiss it from of you, right? Can I? Yes? Where's my wife? Thank you.
Can I just ask one,
Oh,
Dan?
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sure.
You kind of went into the fact that you've had a huge team. Can you just run us through, like, from the moment that you came on board, like how much time has it taken to, and how many days have you been having to get into, get through to
Wow.
get to this stuff?
That's a long story, but I'll cut it short for you. I've been their family lawyers for a long time. I'm a suburban firm. He's a normal suburban family man in Barella. He's operated suburban businesses over the years, so I've been their family lawyers. And in November of 2019, 10 months after he was arrested, Trang rang me and turned me into a human rights activist lawyer. She needed some assistance at that time because of the language barrier. She sought my assistance, and I came in, I think about a week before his trial. He was sentenced to 12 years, and I worked, I supported the family. Of course, I couldn't do anything in Vietnam. He had a Vietnamese lawyer. Went on appeal in February. I approached many organisations. I cannot count for you now, but one of which, very important organisation, the head office of which we are standing right in today, is Amnesty International, with submissions and information, and with their support, we had him declared a prisoner of conscience. That was an important step, I think, in his fight for freedom. I took Trang to Canberra twice. We met up with a lot of MPs. This was the previous government. I lodged this application for prisoner transfer in August 2020. COVID had a lot to do with it. I worked throughout COVID with a number of departments, many different people. My legal team, like I said, extended to all over the world. I must thank you, Michael Pollack, barrister in the UK, who's worked tirelessly in this matter. He was instrumental and the main person that took the matter to the UN. There's been many others. I've worked with different departments in the government in securing his return, in coordinating his return and negotiating his return. Attorney General's Department, Corrective Services, AFP, to name a few. There's been many others. And I must say my experience has been a learning curve. The network experience, the network that I've established is amazing. And I hope that we remain friends, my media friends, let's stay friends. My different organisations around the world, let's stay friends. Different departments and individuals in the government, let's stay friends. So it's been a long journey. I never gave up. But we're here today. He's a free man. He's back in Australia in the arms of his family, where he belongs.
So mission accomplished, but there's still 150 other political prisoners being held. So there's still a long road ahead.
Yes, indeed. There is still a long way ahead. As I said, this is my first human rights activist or pro-democracy case. He's turned, Mr. Chau Van Kham's turned a suburban lawyer into a human activist lawyer. Yes, I'm nearing retirement, so I may pick up a few more cases.
So you've got one win here, there's maybe a few more.
Hope so. Hope so.
I proud you.
Hey?
Sorry, and so this is an international prisoner transfer, or was his conduct just completely free, there's nothing attached?
The negotiations was under the International Prisoner Transfer Program. It was negotiated under that scheme, but he has come back completely free with no conditions attached. He walks a free man.
Did we transfer? Was there a swap? Did Australia send any Vietnamese prisoners from here back to Vietnam?
Not that I know. Not that I know, but it was very high government level negotiations and advocacy. And I do believe, as you well know, that our Prime Minister made personal representations on his last visit to Vietnam.
When you got the call, what was your reaction?
I felt that something was coming the week before. I knew that things were in the pipeline about 4 days before. DFAT's going to kill me. I knew when he took off on that plane the night before. I was up 1 o'clock in the morning receiving that news, and we were whizzed into the airport with Trang at about 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning, waiting for his arrival.
When you were told, okay, you can go, can you ask him to explain that? When you're in your cell and they said you're going home, can you remember that conversation?
Yeah, yes. In the time to process paperwork in the camp, I just guess I will be released very soon, but I don't know exactly which day. And they never say which day, because they said they didn't know. So, I just guess. Depend on the processing paperwork. Example, the first thing, they take my photo, right? And a few days later, they check my clothes. They keep separate. So in the camp, they should wear the camp clothes only, uniform. They keep your clothes separate. And they check, okay, these are yours, okay. And few days later, or after a few hours later, they asked me to record any things you want to bring with you out. So I think nearly, maybe tomorrow, but still wait. Until the last repay, the money I put in my account to buy the food, the canteen, from the camp canteen. Oh no, okay, maybe 1 hour later. And not yet, still waiting. But I'm sure very soon. And next day, normally they deliver the food, what I ordered, in 2 p.m. But now they deliver my food already on that day, and 11 a.m. So they needed it, okay, exactly 2 o'clock. They call me out to the gate, give money, and many people waiting for me, say goodbye. With the camp officer to the detention airport. So I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure still. Maybe it's a game. Until I met the counsel in the airport, Australian counsel in the airport. Well, I'm still not 100%, just 99%. It may happen something on the Vietnam airline. They may fly back. So I show the security officer, Australian escort me 3 people. Both one is left side, on the right hand side. But before that, after the meeting at the airport, one officer, leader, he told me this is the rule, agreement between both governments. I should do something. I will do something with you, but please understand that is an agreement. All right? What happened? Don't worry, because you are Australian. If you are nervous, I don't worry. Can be. Keep going. He said, you, even if you get out of your seat from airplane to toilet, I will be with you. I'm in front of the door of toilet. All right? If you any question to the employee on the airplane, let me know.
I got a question.
You suddenly stop. You suddenly stand. Sorry, you suddenly stand up to ask something. You may do something wrong with the plane stop. So be careful. That's not mine, but it is an agreement. Do you understand? All right, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're pretty happy?
No, of course.
You were pretty happy then too?
When I get out, I just told before, when I get out of Vietnam airline, I feel 100% free.
When you were back here in Australia?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question with Mr. Paul Nguyen Nguyen, the president of Vietnamese community. I believe in last few years we got big rally in Canberra. So what do you feel when Mr. Chow back in Sydney?
I think since we heard the news in December 2019, when Mr. Kham, our dear community members, was being arrested in Vietnam, we were on the phone to Canberra straight away. We will start the lobbying process for the last tirelessly the last 4 years, continuously lobbying in Canberra, meeting with MPs and senators to, in the hope to secure his release. And we've done a lot of campaign together with our committee members and Vietnam group to ensure that his return.
Perhaps one, sorry, just one for Amnesty actually. Obviously, just mentioned before, there's still quite a few political prisoners. Just last month we saw a founder of an NGO taken into custody on tax law. Is this an increasing trend we're seeing in Vietnam? Is there a worry for human rights campaigners?
Yeah, definitely. In Vietnam and across Asia, we are seeing a setback in human rights, and it is very important that Australia, having developed this very close relationship with Vietnam, ensure that human rights is at the center of this deepening relationship, and we will continue to pressure the government to do that.